Alright guys, welcome back to Crunch Time, the show where you get the best NBA DFS picks each and every day. And Chris, a little late here today, had to do his hair, probably. Something like that, was waiting for him for a bit. But we're still on time here, as always, 2.5 hours before main slate for this 10-game slate here today. So I'm excited for it. How are you doing today, Chris?
Pretty good, as always. Excited for the slate. As always, we have a good one. We have a lot of value today, actually. So a lot of stuff to talk about. Definitely going to be some good stuff here today.
I mean, there's always good stuff here, Chris. But when there's too much value, what do you do? How do you lock all the value? How do you pick the value? What do you look at usually?
Yeah, I just meant like when there's more value, there's more stuff to talk about, more teams, more strategy. So definitely going to be more fun here today. So I definitely think it's going to be better. But yeah, when there's a lot of value, you just got to go with whatever you think is the best value. And I mean, that's what we talk about here. So that's what we'll get into.
Let's get into it. It's always fun here, though. I'll correct you on that one. It's always a good time here. But yeah, let's get into success from yesterday. I think we did some good stuff here. I think I had some good success over in the Euro League, but I never posted. I don't know why. Maybe I'll post it soon. But Euro League is going well. But yeah, here we have Turn and Burn here on DK. Second place here. What is he like? What is that? 2.5 off from first place, which is 10K. Kind of crazy. It's pretty close, pretty tight there. So always when you're up there in the top, whatever, top percent, top, I don't know, 50, 100, depending how large it is. Just like a steal, a block, whatever it is, anything can go your way or against you. So, I mean, second place is so close. So love to see that. Shout out to Turn and Burn. Then we got Nick here, NBA action on DK as well. Solid stuff here, as always. He's got the tournament here, 5 to 30, so that's awesome. Double ups. No double ups here, actually. This is all tournaments. Then we got some Chell here, NHL, 55 to 90. Who do I know here? I know McKinnon. I know Vasilevsky. And that's everyone I know. So just two guys there today. Then we got NBA here. Yeah, solid stuff here. We'll get into NBA lineups a bit more when we go over yours. Maybe you can send over the links, Chris, so I can open them up a bit later. Then we have Mike here, DK 62 to 120, doubled up there. Awesome stuff. Lots of double up action, so some tournaments there as well. FanDuel for him as well, 50 to 100, so solid stuff again from the crunchers. KJ here, 124 to 329. That's crazy. Good stuff there. 385.6. Was this the optimal, Chris?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so went on fire yesterday, so love to see that. Aiden here, every single sport again. He's deviating from his numbers. His numbers aren't looking as clean anymore, but he's playing more, so I like to see it, even if the numbers aren't as clean as they used to be.
Same as always there. He always increases by increments of 7.5, so still 57.5, 27.5, 27.5, so same as usual for him.
So you're saying the next jump up will be 7.5 here, so it'll be 35?
Yeah. Yeah, like 35 next, and then
Nice.
whatever after.
He's like, you probably want to hire Aiden as like your accountant or something. Like he's got his numbers down. Good with his money as well, managing his bankroll. I've never seen anyone manage it so well. The discipline here is crazy. Like, then we got Little Biscuit here. Thank you, Crunch Team. Just part of the bets, so we don't get to see the full picture, but we do see this 64 to 134. I'll round that up, 135. Love to see that, so that's awesome. That's over on DK. Then FanDuel here, 50 to 132. Again, solid stuff there. Shout out to him. We got Brandon here. I'm not sure what his entry fees were, but that's a 2K paycheck there. Big bag of money there. But yeah, I mean that's awesome. I'm wondering if it's mostly double ups for him or if it was some tournaments, Chris. I guess we have no way of really knowing, but
yeah, I mean you could see here it's pretty much all double ups.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean that's awesome to see. Mid to high stakes guy there. as well. So love to see that. And then we have you here, Chris. What is that? 1,800 to 4,500 on FanDuel. What is that? 1,900 to 3,000, 3,000 over on DK. So that's awesome stuff there. Missed some of your emojis, so I'll add those in. Then we have Turn and Burn here. First place. I don't know what is this screenshot. Is this some sort of DK showdown jab? How do you get this screenshot, Chris?
I don't know. We'll have to ask him.
He's yeah. I mean, he said it here, mixing up the screenshots. I don't know what this is. Is this like a custom one? Did he like whip this up in Photoshop? Did he get this in DK?
If you win first, I think you get something like that.
This definitely looks like the works of DraftKings, though. Even if I didn't see the contest there, it just kind of looks like DraftKings. It doesn't look like anything FanDuel would do. But I mean, that's awesome. Do you know how much the jab is? Entry fee?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, that's awesome stuff there. So big shout out to Turn and Burn again. Then we got T-Dot Baller here. What is this? 20th place. I mean, that's good stuff. High score there, 422.6. I think he said. Actually, I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, that's a really high score. So it's a pretty good team here. Moses Brown killed it yesterday, so that was awesome. Yeah, I mean, this is crazy stuff there. Lots of crazy stuff here at dfscrunch.com, guys. But let me load up your links here, Chris. You can get into those.
Have you made a bracket yet?
Yeah, I entered. I don't know anything about college basketball, but I entered a bracket.
Nice. Yeah, so I just put it in the chat. If anyone wants to enter our bracket, we're doing a monthly pass for first place. Second and third get a weekly pass. Takes like 5 minutes to create a bracket there. So I put that in the chat. It's the bit.ly link. So yeah, click that. You can get in there.
Yeah, where are we getting this bit.ly stuff? That's crazy. Bit.ly link.
What do you mean?
Did you go to bit.ly to make that link?
Yeah. How else?
I don't know. I don't know. But yeah,
they give you like a 200 character link, so I had to shorten it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good plug though, because I wanted to push that on the show today so we can get some more guys in there.
You can do it later as well.
Yeah, but yeah, let's get into this one, Chris. So let's just go. Let me load up your success thing here. So this is your DK one, 1900 to 3K, 320.5, as you can see here. Yeah, get into it, Chris. What are your thoughts here on your construction yesterday? What did you like? I don't know. Anything go not your way? Could anything have gone better? Like, just what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, so yesterday was like a pretty chalky slate. There was a lot of value. Most people landed on the same build, so there's just a 1v1 here. It was like Satoransky versus Tony Bradley from the Sixers. Went with Sato, thought his minutes were safer. He ended up doing better. I think Bradley got like 8 fantasy points. Sato here got 31. So that was the big decision I was making. But you can see with the ownership, like quickly, everyone had him. Pokashevsky, everyone had him. Collins, everyone had him. Moses Brown, everyone had him. Porter, LeBron, and Oladipo were kind of like 60% around that range. So sort of mattered. They played well for me, so that was good to see. But in terms of decisions that I had to make, I was just deciding the 1v1 between Sato and Tony Bradley. Ended up working out for me. So yeah, like you said, like you showed in the screenshot, won some good money here. Landed on the same team as B. Kreider. Really like him here. We can look at some other players here if you would like.
Yeah, I just know Papa Gates, Chipotle, Addict. Who else do I know? This guy. I know this guy.
Yeah, let's click on them.
Okay, let's click on him. Here's your boy McLovin, Chris.
Yeah, so it looks like he had Dame and Nathan Knight and Kenyon Martin Jr. actually, or KJ Martin Jr. Yeah, so these three guys were pretty low owned. Can we view the head-to-head here just to see the differences?
I don't think it works 'cause I'm not on your account.
I think you still can because this is a smaller contest. So you just click on the right, top right, find my name. Yeah, right there. And then scroll down, hide shared players. Yeah, so 3v3 here. Bradley. Sorry. No, not Bradley. Lillard, Knight, Martin versus Sato, Porter, Oladipo. Ended up winning by 7 points. Yeah, I mean, I like my side more. It feels like it was a little safer. Dame 10-8. Felt like a little bit of an overspend, even though he got 75. That was obviously a big game there. I had a big game from Porter. He was 7K, so he was a little expensive here on DK, but still thought he was a good play without John Wall, without David Nwaba. A bunch of guys were missing for them. I think they had 8 guys in their rotation. So Porter did well there. And yeah, ended up winning this 3v3, so that was good. See if we can find some other people.
Back to contest. Damian Lillard killed me over in the Euro League. Was playing someone in a head-to-head, 200 euros. Lillard went for like 75. I think I had, who did I have? I had Luca. And
I thought you said you had a good night.
Who?
You.
Yeah, I did have a good night overall in tournaments, but in the head-to-head, my big head-to-head against my rival, he had Lillard, I didn't, so I lost in the head-to-head, but I did well in the tournaments. Overall, good night, but lost the head-to-head. Yeah, I mean, who do you know here, Chris? I'm just scrolling.
Yeah, just go to view head-to-head. It's easier than we could pick from the list. So, yeah, on the right we can look at some guys. Let's see Curry Burrito here. Hide shared players. See the difference. Yeah, Quickly versus Gallo. Gallo crushed. Quickly was pretty bad yesterday. So that was a pretty good swap there. Actually, I really liked that. Wasn't really considering it just because I thought Quickly was a lock, but I really liked it. Yeah, this is Papa Gates, 3v3. Gallo as well on his side. Zion, KJ Martin. I don't know. I like my side a little more here in hindsight.
Didn't love my bad. It was actually my 1v1. I remember now. I had like Zion. It was Zion and Lillard down to the wire at the end. Like fourth quarter, we were tied in the head-to-head. And obviously Lillard was just hitting everything, going crazy. So that's what lost me.
Yeah.
Yeah, should we one more here? Chipotle?
Yeah, so same thing, like off of Pokashevsky, off of Porter Jr., KJ Martin, like I said, wasn't too high on him on TK, 5.3K. Thought it was a little bit of an overspend. But yeah, still ended up beating me by 1.5 points there.
Yeah, KJ had a feeling about Gallo, Chris. He's in here calling it out right here again. He's saying he would peak. So he did say that.
Yeah, Gallo without... Yeah, we were on it as well. Like, Gallo without Capella. I was saying that in the last few games without Capella, he went for, I think, 50 in his first start without Capella, 30 the next start, and then yesterday he went for 40, I think. So definitely a good call there. Yeah, and then on FanDuel here.
FanDuel, yeah, just loading this up again. 18 to 44, 45, so crazy stuff there. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, so it was just there were 2 obvious teams here. We could find the other team. There were 2 big trains. If you weren't on either side of this train on FanDuel in cash games, you're probably not doing it right, not playing the optimal team, I guess. Maybe not doing it right isn't the correct way to say it, but not playing the optimal team. So the other one was 336.6 here. So it was a 3v3. We had Dame, Zion. Oh, it was just a 2v2, sorry. 3v3, sorry. Dame, Oladipo, Zion versus Trae Young, SGA, and Julius Randle. So I was talking up SGA a lot, actually, yesterday on the show, had him on the cover. But once we got the news that Clint Capella was out, I liked the John Collins build more that had Dame and Zion over the one that had Trae Young and Randle. Just really liked the game environment here for Dame. It was the highest total game. Ended up shooting out, went for 249 total here between the 2 teams. Dame crushed, Zion crushed as well. Oladipo ended up beating SGA. Wasn't expecting that, but I mean, even if SGA got like 50 points, we still would have won the 3v3 here, obviously, because I mean, Dame went crazy. Trae Young didn't do too well. So yeah, I like this. I like the side that we were on here, even though it didn't have SGA, who was one of my favorite players. But I mean, you gotta take the slate, take what it gives you. Even if you like some guys, if you find a build without them that sort of fits better all around, you gotta make the pivot. You can't just can't just stay on what you were on earlier in the day. So yeah, I like this pivot a lot. Everything else here was just super chalky, like Ben Simmons, quickly Porter, Martin, Collins, Brown, all over 80% pretty much. So all those plays were obvious there. It was just the point guard one, shooting guard one, and power forward one that were the decisions here on FanDuel.
Yeah, I think it was a good thing that we talked about that Lillard McCollum thing yesterday quite a bit during the show, because we were just talking about McCollum coming back, if it would have like how big of an impact it would have on Lillard. And I think, what did McCollum go for? Do you know? We were talking about how he would probably need a few games, even if he didn't have like too big of a minutes restriction, to kind of get back in the groove.
Yeah, I think he had like 20.
Yeah, so yeah, and then I think we had a few guys here in the chat also saying how Lillard, even at this price, he can pay it off. We've seen ceiling games from him with McCollum, so we weren't too concerned about that. So it was definitely a good thing that we did talk about that quite a bit, because I was wondering about that as well, how big of an impact McCollum would have.
Yeah, I mean it does have an impact. Like we had Dame without McCollum. Like if we had him in the same game, we would have him at like projected for 55 fantasy points. Yesterday he was projected for like 50, maybe 51. So there is a pretty big bump there. But it was still like when the rest of the build is super obvious, you have just like 3 spots that you have to pick from. That's where I have no problem playing the guy like Dame, who we all know has the crazy ceiling. And yeah, he hit it yesterday.
Yeah, it's good to see. Let's see what we got in the chat, who we have here. So I see Justin in here, got Brent in here, Goo-Tip season, love to see that. Hair season for you, Chris, from Brent as well. Got Rondo, KJ, Roll King. What's up, everyone? But yeah, 10 game slate here, Chris. Let's get into our regular content here, scheduled content. What are your favorite teams to target, favorite players to look at here, favorite news that you have so far? What are you excited about?
So same as yesterday, we have the Sixers without Embiid, so we have some interest in Simmons and Harris on FanDuel. DK, we have some guys like Bielitsa, Holmes with no Bagley. Kyrie got ruled out, so Harden on both sites. Karis LeVert is still 4.4K on FanDuel. No idea why he's so cheap, so he's going to be 100% owned again. Free square there. So, I mean, there's a lot here, a lot to go over, but there are some really good spots as well with injuries. Like Harden's just a lock today on both sites. I expect his ownership to be very high as well.
Yeah. Could you saying no Giannis today as well?
Yeah, no Giannis. I mean, we have Harden without Kyrie, so I gotta overlook Giannis when we got this.
Kid also said Trey had 25, 26 at the half as well, fantasy points. Slowed down, I think, when you were going over the other build here on FanDuel.
Yeah, I think he had like 10 assists in the first half, though. He hasn't been scoring the ball too well recently. Teams have kind of been keying in on him, but he had like 10 assists, which, I mean, that's not sustainable for the whole game. It's not like he's going to go for 20 assists every game. People were just hitting shots off of his passes. I mean, everything comes back down to its averages. I'm not saying Trae Young was a bad play. Like, he was 9K. I think he got 36, so he was like 10 points away from value. But yeah, I really like the Dame side of that 3v3.
Didn't Trey have like a slump as well a bit earlier in the season with his scoring? I think for like a few weeks he looked kind of off, a little passive. I think it was like in the second or third week of the season.
Yeah, I mean, he seems pretty like up and down. Like he has like a stretch of games where he goes for 55 plus, and he has a stretch of games where he goes for like 35 to 40.
Yeah, I remember. I think Thomas was saying how Trey said like Steve Nash was one of his favorite players growing up, and then something about Steve Nash saying he doesn't like the way Trey plays or something. I remember that.
I don't think that was Thomas. I think that was someone else in here, but yeah. And then he didn't find the actual source, so I think that was just a rumor.
Yeah, KJ's saying it here. He says, yeah, after Steve Nash said that ain't basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the one, so I do remember that. But yeah, first game here, we have the Raptors against the Pistons. Detroit side. Sorry, let's do Toronto first because they're away. Toronto side first. We have OG Anunoby out. And then lots of questionable tags. Malachi Flynn, Siakam, Van Fleet, McCaw all have the questionable tag. Projected starters, we have Kyle Lowry, Fred Van Fleet, Norm Powell, Pascal Siakam, and Aaron Baines. Who do you like here, Chris, on the Raptors? The questionable tags, I'm guessing they're all related to the health and safety protocol. So is that more of like a conditioning thing for them if they're comfortable playing today? Like, what is that? They're not ruled out from health and safety, right?
Yeah, they practiced yesterday. They're questionable, so I mean, I have no idea here. We'll just have to wait and see. It's the first game of the slate. Nothing really to talk about. Like, if they're out, we'll have interest in guys like Powell, Boucher, Lowry, maybe some of the value guys. But if they're in, we don't have any interest here going up against Detroit, pace down spot. So it's one of those wait and see situations. Not a great game environment here, like I said, especially if those guys are in.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of crazy. Just on the Raptors side, these price tags, like we have 5 guys here: Van Fleet, Siakam, Powell, Boucher, Lowry, all like around 8K at least. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's because we had those 2 guys out, and then everyone's price goes up, and then those 2 guys come back, and everyone's price is still up. So just a situation where I think we stay away if those guys are in. Maybe you could play someone like one of the studs, like Lowry, Van Vliet, Siakam, assuming they're not on a restriction. But for me, I'm probably going to stay away here.
Definitely stay away from Fred Van Fleet. He is a scammer. For those of you guys who don't know, he has a store, Fred Van Fleet store. Got something from there like over a month ago now. Haven't heard back from them. No tracking code. I've sent an email to them. Haven't heard back from that either. So it looks like my only option is like a chargeback or just waiting maybe for the off season. Maybe go a bit easy on Fred there. Maybe he's busy. I mean, he's not playing at home. I think they're in Tampa, so maybe when he comes back to Toronto, he'll send out those packages. But it's been a month, no word. And the worst part is when I looked it up, turns out I'm not the only Fred Van Fleet victim over here. There's like a whole Reddit thread on that. So he's definitely doing some shady things outside of the basketball world there. So, but I've got faith. I think he's just a busy guy. So maybe in the off season, I'll give him until then. Then I'll do the chargeback. But yeah, Detroit side, we have Hamidou Diallo out for them, Wayne Ellington and Rodney McGruder doubtful tags, and then Dennis Smith Jr. questionable. Projected starters: DeLon Wright, Josh Jackson, Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, and Mason Plumlee. Who do you like, Chris, on the Pistons today against Toronto?
Yeah, not too much here. Like, this is just an ugly game. It's the second lowest over under. Yeah, I don't know. Like, Jeremy Grant, if you want to try to take some shots there. Maybe Mason Plumlee in tournaments. He had a big game against Toronto earlier in the season, but I mean, for me, I'm going to stay away here.
Okay. Let's load up the next game here. We have the Brooklyn Nets against Indiana. I mean, you said it already. We have Kyrie out. KD's still out for them, so Harden on our cover. Hopefully some Nets guys. Hopefully we'll hear you say Nets guys today. Well, yeah, let's go over the Nets guys first. So we have KD, Blake Griffin, Kyrie all out. Projected starters: James Harden, Bruce Brown, Joe Harris, Jeff Green, and DeAndre Jordan. Chris, who do you like on the Nets? And are you going to say Nets guys today?
Well, I mean, there's not too many Nets guys here. That's the thing today. It's mostly Harden. He's 10.9K on DraftKings, FanDuel 11K flat, so just too cheap for this role without Kyrie. I love him. He's my favorite spend up. He's my favorite cash game spend up, favorite tournament spend up as well. I just think his ceiling here could be absolutely crazy. He can go for 80, and I wouldn't be surprised one bit. He's going to have the ball in his hands for most of the game. Going to play probably 38 to 40 minutes. So, I mean, everything here looks good for Harden. Definitely one of my favorite spend ups on both sites. And then outside of him, like there's some other pieces here, like guys like Jeff Green, Joe Harris, DeAndre Jordan. I'm fine with all of them as sort of last pieces. The thing with them is I'll start with Joe Harris and Jeff Green since they're kind of similar. They have to hit their shots to hit their value because Harden's going to have the ball in his hands so much. He's going to be rebounding. He's going to be assisting. So I mean, most of their points are going to come from 3-pointers, stuff like that. But Joe Harris here, as you highlight him, he does have a good price tag on FanDuel, 3.8K. I think that's pretty good value. I'm currently not landing on him though. We just have other small forwards like Jaylen Brown, Kevin Porter, who are in really good spots. They're more high usage guys, so I feel safer with them. Like I said, Joe Harris is more scoring reliant. If his shot isn't falling, he'll likely only get you like 15 fantasy points. So, I mean, I'm obviously not expecting him to get 50, and I'm expecting him to go probably 5x, 6x here. But honestly, where we have so much value, 5x, 6x isn't too important for cheap guys. Just rather get raw points in some places like small forward. It's pretty loaded today. And then DeAndre Jordan on FanDuel is 4.3K. I think he's a good option here. I think he's gonna his minutes are going to be safer here just because they're going up against the big front court of the Pacers in Sabonis and Miles Turner. So he'll likely play around 30 minutes here. Got 37 fantasy points his last game against Indiana, played 36 minutes that game. So he's definitely in a good spot. I was landing on him earlier. Not sure if currently I'm not on him. Deciding between him and Wiseman, I definitely think it's a spend down spot there on FanDuel at center. So he's definitely in play. Just currently not on him, but wouldn't be surprised if I get back on him later.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, what's the spread on this game? Is it supposed to be a tight one here? You always say this, Brooklyn isn't blowing too many teams out lately. So, I mean, no Kyrie here as well. So is it supposed to be a close game?
Yeah, Pacers are favored by 1.5.
Got it. Okay, before we do Indiana, see some comments here. Vian Jones says, greetings guys. Chris, loving my 1 DK tournament lineup, but I have 500 left on the table. Should I start from scratch or run with what I perceive to be a great lineup?
Yeah, I mean 500 on a table, that's no problem.
Yeah.
If you like the lineup, go for it. I have no problems leaving 500 on the table.
Yeah, 500 doesn't seem like a lot for tournaments. Even for cash, I don't know. That's not that bad even for cash, right, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really mind. It doesn't happen often, but yeah, I don't mind.
Yeah, if the build lands there, if you like it, I think 500 is not like nothing to raise an eyebrow over. Brent here, yeah, stay away from the Van Fleet store for sure. T-Base says, the comment by Nash killed Trey. Hasn't been the same thing. His idol roasted him.
Maybe it was Thomas then who said that.
Yeah, either KJ or Thomas, maybe both of them. But yeah, let's go over the other half of this game. Indiana, Jeremy Lamb, questionable tag. Projected starters, Brogdon, Karis LeVert, Justin Holiday, Domantas Sabonis, Miles Turner. So LeVert here, we have the revenge narrative against Brooklyn. Fresh blood there, first one. So this is his third game playing since his, I don't know, injury or since he had to take time off to deal with his health. But yeah, is this an interesting narrative here, Chris? I think, what do you think of his price tag right now? Is it where it should be on both sides? What are your thoughts there on LeVert, first of all?
Yeah, so I mean, it's the same thing as it's been the last couple of slates. He's been starting on a restriction. He's still way too cheap on FanDuel. He's going to be 100% owned again. 4.4K for his usage rate is just insane. We got the revenge game against Brooklyn. So, I mean, you got to play him there on FanDuel. Just an easy free square. DK, where he's 6'8", that's where he's probably too expensive for me. Like, this offense runs through Sabonis, runs through Brogdon as well. So 6'8" for LeVert there is a little hard to get to. So yeah, I think for the most part, it's going to be LeVert here for me on FanDuel. You can play these other guys as sort of last pieces. Brogdon on FanDuel, 7K. Like I always say, we like targeting the Nets. So I do think that Brogdon is in a pretty good spot here. I think 7K is a fair price tag for him. On DraftKings, 7.2K. So I think that's also fair. And then we have Sabonis up top, 9.4 on DK, 9.2 on FanDuel. He's going to go very overlooked today, in my opinion. I think he's probably going to be my favorite tournament play here. Just love the matchup against the Nets. They don't play much defense. The game is supposed to stay close. So I think Sabonis could have a huge game here. But not landing there in tournaments. Just feel like we have we have better plays with injury situations, price situations. So yes, bonus here for tournaments only, not for cash games. And then Levert and FanDuel cash.
Okay. Let's load up the next game here. While I do that, we have some revenge narratives from Leighton to go over. Let's see what he has. So we have Justice Winslow today, Chris. Where's that one? Yeah, Memphis, Miami. So we have that one. Levert one, which we just went over here, Brooklyn, Indiana, and then DeLon Wright, Detroit against Toronto. I actually kind of like the DeLon Wright one. Not sure how many minutes he's going to play. Is he playing a bit more now, Chris? I actually haven't been paying too much attention to Detroit.
Yeah, he's been playing his normal minutes, around 30. Yeah, we have some other revenge spots here. We have
Drew Holiday
Stanley
as well.
Johnson. Yeah, Stanley Johnson versus Detroit. He spent a few seasons there. Obviously, he was drafted there. Tobias Harris, Milwaukee. He was a rookie there. Drew Holiday, like you just said, and yeah, that's pretty much it. We also have Rozier's birthday. So there's some good stuff. My favorite is going to be the Karis LeVert against Brooklyn. That's the first blood revenge game. So yeah, I like that one the most.
You could probably make a decent team with a bunch of these narratives today, like on FanDuel at least, like LeVert, DeLon Wright. There's also, we have the Clippers Dallas game as well, so that's the double header. So they just played each other, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so we have the playoff bubble history with those two teams. So I feel like that's also a good narrative. We touched on that last time they played last game. So I still like that narrative. What do you think of that narrative again, Chris, in the second game here for them?
I mean, I'm not going to go out of my way to pick anyone here just because of that narrative. I don't know. We have a giant slate here, so it doesn't really mean as much to me on a huge slate.
Got it. Okay, let's go over the next game. We have the Kings here against the Wizards. On the Sacramento side, we have Robert Woodard questionable. Don't know who that is. Do you know who Robert Woodard is? No.
No, I've never heard of him.
He's a power forward over there. We also have Hassan Whiteside, questionable. And then Chimezie Metu is out for them. Projected starters, De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, and Rashawn Holmes. Who do you like here, Chris, on the Kings? And then also, like, what are your thoughts on Tyrese Halliburton? Had that injury before the All-Star break, came back. I think he hasn't looked as good. He was going off, I think, leading up to his injury. Do you think his price tag is a little too cheap here for tournaments? Do you think he can kind of get back into that groove he was in? Just wondering about that for tournaments. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so I mean, this is the high total game by far. It's sitting at 247 right now. So there are some good options here. Halliburton, he's probably a little too expensive for me, honestly. We don't know about his minutes limit. If he's off of it, then he's going to be too cheap. More of a DK play, though. FanDuel, he's 6.3K. DraftKings, he's 5.5K. I mean, I like him a lot. Just on this restriction, it's hard to play a guy on a minutes restriction. The good thing for them is that Bagley got hurt again, though. So I think that opens up some more minutes for Halliburton. They'll play smaller. So that makes me like Halliburton more here. His minutes have been trending upwards. He saw 28 last game. So, I mean, I expect it to go up a little bit again today. Probably see around 30 minutes, maybe 32. So I really like him. But my favorite guys are going to be the guys that benefit from the Marvin Bagley injury. So Rashawn Holmes and Nemanja Bjelica. I think both of them. Well, I think Bjelica is going to start here for Bagley, and then Holmes is obviously starting at center like he has been. So I think these guys are also a little more interesting on DraftKings. FanDuel, we don't really need them here. We just have a bunch of other guys that are way too cheap. On DraftKings, though, Rashawn Holmes here, 6.7K. Really like the spot here. Love the matchup. They're implied to score 123. Like I said, highest over-under on the slate. Tight spread at 2, favoring the Wizards. So the game should stay close. Holmes has just been crushing, playing out of his mind. So I like him a lot there. And then Bjelica, I also mentioned him. Like I said, I expect him to start for Bagley. He's 4.5K on FanDuel, DK 3.7. So another guy that's better priced on DraftKings here on the Kings. So my interest comes on DraftKings for the most part. Um, but we'll have to see who they start. Like they could start someone random like Daquan Jeffries, Justin James maybe. I don't know who they'll start, but I assume it's going to be Bielitsa. If he does start, love him as a play here on DK for 3.7. And then up top, De'Aaron Fox, 9.2 on DraftKings, 9.1 on FanDuel. Love that play as well. Don't think he's going to get too much ownership, especially on DraftKings. Everyone's going to play Harden at point guard. FanDuel, people just like Simmons is 7.9. Good DeJounte Murray for 7.8. People aren't going to pay 9.1K for De'Aaron Fox, in my opinion. But I do think he's a really good tournament option just because I think he's going to go overlooked here in this matchup that, I mean, I've loved all season long against the Wizards. So yeah, a ton of stuff here. I think this game goes overlooked, but prefer these guys on DK.
Okay. Wizards side, we have Davis Bertans, probable tag for him with the knee. Raul Neto, questionable tag. Projected starters, Russell Westbrook, Brad Beal, Garrison Matthews, Rui Hachimura, and Alex Len. Thoughts on the Wizards, Chris?
Yeah, so for the Wizards, a bit easier to talk about them just because they have two main guys. But a similar situation here to the Kings, like great game environment. They're implied to score 125. Obviously, they're the favorites, so this is the highest on the entire slate. So Westbrook and Beal here, super good spend ups. Finding myself more on Beal today just because Westbrook is more expensive. Beal is 9.3 on DK. I think on FanDuel he's 9.5K, so really good price tag for Brad Beal. Good price tag for Westbrook as well, but like I was saying, we have other guys at point guard. DraftKings, we have Harden there for 10.9, I think. And then on FanDuel, mentioned we have Ben Simmons for 7.9. Guys like DeJounte Murray, 7.8. So not really landing on Westbrook here, but I love him in tournaments as well. Like if you pair Westbrook and Fox together in a tournament lineup, I think that can definitely be different. You get the game stack in the best game environment. So I really like that pairing in tournaments. But for cash games, the guy for me is going to be Bradley Beal, specifically on DK, where he's 9.3K. Sacramento can't guard anyone. So I love matchups with scorers against Sacramento. So Beal is no different here. He's one of the best scorers in the league. So I love him here on DK and cash games.
Isn't Beal the leading scorer in the league?
I think so.
Yeah, so he's the best. He is the best scorer in the league right now. Let's go into the next game. We have, what do we have? We have the Bucks here against the Sixers. So we can go over Milwaukee first. I've never heard of this guy, but I'm going to say his name. We have Axel Tupain. He's out. Do you know Axel Tupain, Chris?
Yeah, I think he was on the Thunder before. He's just a G League guy.
Yeah, shooting guard. So yeah, Milwaukee projected starters. We have Drew Holiday, revenge narrative for him as we went over. Dante DiVincenzo, that's your boy Chris. We have Middleton, we have Giannis, and we have Lopez, all projected to start. Who do you like here on the Bucks? Actually, wait, did someone say Giannis? No Giannis today. Do we not have Giannis?
Yeah, just not in the builds today. Usually he pops every day, but I mean, we have Harden here today as the spend up. So yeah, no Giannis here for us, but he has a really good tournament option. Like he's 11K on DK, 11.4 on FanDuel. So if you want to pivot off of Harden, go to Giannis. I mean, we've seen Giannis go for crazy games here. Like he's like the best fantasy player this season. Had 73 last game, 65 the game before. So he can definitely hit his ceiling here, go for 80 fantasy points on any night. So I really like him in tournaments. I think he's a really good pivot. I think he goes under-owned here. So yeah, that pretty much does it. Like Drew Holiday, you can go there if you want to. 5.9K on FanDuel, 6.3 on DK. The revenge game there. So that's a decent option, more of a last piece guy. But yeah, for the most part, I'm not really on this team. Just because we have other spend ups who I'm prioritizing.
Yeah. I was looking at the leading fantasy points per minute players, and it's another Buck here, Chris. in today's slate. It's Mamadi Diakite.
Damn, he's probably played like 2 minutes
Yeah.
all season.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get into Philadelphia. What do we have there? So we have no what's his face? Joel Embiid. Other than that, don't see anything noted for them. Projected starters: Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Danny Green, Tobias Harris, and Tony Bradley. So yeah, no Simmons here, Chris. What are your thoughts on the Sixers here today? Who do we like here for cash or tournaments?
So let's actually click on the guy first. Let's click on Diatike. See see what he had this season. I think he's played one game. Yeah, so he's played. Yeah, that other one was. What's that game against the Pelicans? That's not this season, is it? Maybe it's preseason.
12. Yeah, that's preseason. I think we started 22nd or something of December 23rd.
Yeah, so regular season, one game, 5 minutes, 10.4 fantasy points. I guess he's the best player in the league, point per minute.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but I mean, on the Sixers here, we have Embiid out, like you said. These guys are more viable on FanDuel, just the way pricing is. I have interest in two main guys here. It's Simmons and Harris. On DK, Simmons is 8.9, FanDuel 7.9, Harris on DK 8.4, FanDuel 7.8. So better price tags on FanDuel, like I said. I think they're really good cash options. I have both Simmons and Harris in my FanDuel cash lineup right now. Um, I like the matchup here. Like I expect the game to stay close. We have a pretty high total, second highest on the slate at 235.5. Harris has been crushing ever since Embiid has gone down. Had 50 in his last two games since Embiid went out. Simmons hasn't been playing as well, but I mean, I think when he gets the minutes, he'll be able to get there for us. This price tag is pretty easy to pay off for him. Just needs 40 fantasy points. But I expect more. I expect him to go for like 45, 50 here. So I like Simmons a lot, and I like Harris a lot in FanDuel Cash.
Yeah, we got to watch out when Mamadi Diakite gets unleashed. Fantasy points per minute. Too good, Chris. It's too small of a sample size, but yeah. So yeah, let's get into the next game. Celtics against the Cavaliers. Let's load it up. Boston side, we have Kemba Walker out, Tristan Thompson out, Romeo Langford out, Marcus Smart, probable tag, projected starters. We still have Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Semi Ojeleye, and Daniel Tice. Thoughts on the Celtics today, Chris?
Yeah, so I mean, this is the lowest over/under game on the slate, but we do have the Kemba news, like you said. So he's resting the second half of the back-to-back. So we have interest in some guys where we can take advantage of price, and then Thompson, like you said, he's also out with health and safety protocols. So we have interest in Tice. So I'll start with Tice here. He's 4.1K on DK, FanDuel 4.4K. Had the same thing yesterday without Thompson playing. Tice went for 37 fantasy points, played 26 minutes. So I expect a similar amount of minutes here today against the Cavs, around 26. Obviously, I don't expect him to score 37 fantasy points, but I think he can definitely pay off this price tag. I feel like he's a little better of a play on DraftKings. Definitely don't mind him there if you want to pair him with Tobias Harris on FanDuel. But on DK, you can play him in a few different places. Power forward, center, forward, util. So there's more flexibility there. He's cheaper there as well. So I prefer him on DK a little bit. And then Jaylen Brown is the other guy I've interested in. He's more of a FanDuel play where he's 7.3K. On DraftKings, he's 7.7K. So no Kemba Walker here today, like we both said. That opens up more shots for Jaylen Brown, more minutes, more usage. We saw him go for 50 yesterday. Obviously, that was with Kemba Walker. But the minutes have been there in close games. Played 39 last game. Game against Houston blew out, played 26. Game before against Brooklyn, played 40. This game does have blowout risk, though. It's an 8-point spread for the Celtics. So there's some concern there. But I do think if they blow them out, it's going to have to do with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And like I said, I like Jaylen Brown's price on FanDuel. So I like landing there at small forward and cash games on FanDuel.
Yeah. I think we fixed the salary actually. Like if you look at the salaries here over on FanDuel, I think they're all correct now. Before we used to sometimes get like the later slate salaries, the showdown slate, or maybe like the late night slate salaries instead of main slate. But I think it looks more accurate now. So I think it is always the main slate. So that's good to see. So that's awesome. But yeah, other half here, Cleveland. We have Torian Prince out, which I think we just got that like 4 minutes ago. We have Matthew Dellavedova also out, and Kevin Love also out. I think we also just got that confirmed. Projected starters: Darius Garland, Colin Sexton, Coro, Larry Nance Jr., and Jarrett Allen. Anybody that you are interested in today, Chris, on the Cavs?
Yeah, so another guy that I kind of talked about yesterday as well, Larry Nance Jr. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I'm not sure. I think it was yesterday, actually.
Um,
Um, yeah, so Larry Nance got the start yesterday in place of Kevin Love, and I mean, he's going to do the same today. We're expecting. Ended up playing 37 minutes, got 34 fantasy points on FanDuel. On DK, he got 34 fantasy points. So I think he's a really good play here on DK for 4.7K. Just a little too cheap. Gives us good value here. Kind of a guy that is pretty solid. Not going to score the ball a ton, but I think he's a solid last piece. He's the only guy here. Like, I don't want to play Sexton, don't want to play Garland in this matchup against the Celtics. So it's just Larry Nance on DK.
okay. Pretty straightforward there for that game. Let's go into the next one. Golden State against Houston. So we have some interest here on the Houston side. Let's go over the Warriors first. I don't see anything noted for the Warriors, so just their projected starters. We have Steph Curry, Kelly Oubre, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, and Kevon Looney. Yeah, what do you think of the Warriors today, Chris? Anybody that you like here? Curry, you always seem to like in tournaments. But yeah, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, so this is the matchup against Houston that we've liked targeting recently. So I like Curry a lot here. I'm not landing on him, but I think that price tag on FanDuel of 9.4K is a really nice one in tournaments. So I like him a lot in FanDuel tournaments. DraftKings, he's a little more expensive. Don't think we need it there. Draymond, same sort of thing. Like if you land there as the last piece in cash games, I'm fine with it. I'm currently not. I don't know. I think this game is going to blow out. It's the highest spread on the slate at 12. So for that reason, I hate saying it, but James Wiseman here is going to be my favorite play. 3.8K on FanDuel. I think this game could be one where he has a huge game, kind of a coming out party for him against the Houston Rockets here, who don't play any defense at all. He's definitely more of a play on FanDuel where he's cheaper. Like I said, 3.8K. DraftKings, he's 4.6K. And I said this game is probably going to blow out, or at least I think it's going to blow out. So we've seen James Wiseman crush in blowout minutes in the past. So I think today could be a similar situation here. I'm probably going to regret it after the game, after it doesn't go as planned. But right now, I really like Wiseman in FanDuel cash games for 3.8K.
Yeah, I've been hearing you talk about Wiseman, you and Thomas. You guys are saying he looks a little lost on the court. I think you said he reminds you of someone else that looks lost on the court. Who was that? Do you remember?
Buddy Hield.
Yeah, Buddy Hield.
But I bought his top shot, so I mean, I gotta believe in James Wiseman here.
When you say lost, like, what do you mean? Like, unaware of what's going on? Like, it looks like he's, like, kind of, like, dazed, a little confused, or just, like, low basketball IQ? Is it, like, low confidence? What are you seeing in your scouting report, Chris?
I think it's the last one. I think it's low confidence. But, I mean, when you play against the scrubs, the scrubs that Houston is going to run out, your confidence definitely goes up. So I like Wiseman here. I'm probably going to regret it, like I said, but I mean, currently have him in my FanDuel cash game lineup. But yeah, I like him here.
Okay. So yeah, Houston side, I think I saw some core guys, some guys going into your core with the notification bell here. But yeah, lots of stuff to go over on Houston. So we have PJ Tucker out, Dante Exum out, Kuruks out, John Wall out, Victor Oladipo out. Danwell House questionable, Ben McLemore questionable, and then Christian Wood is probable. So that's cool to see that. Projected starters: Kevin Porter Jr., Ben McLemore, Danwell House, Jason Tate, and Christian Wood. Thoughts on the Rockets today, Chris? The situation here with all these guys up in the air. A few guys. Yeah, what are your thoughts here on Houston?
Yeah, so Christian Wood back kind of mucks up this whole situation for the front court. So not too much interest in them. KJ Martin on FanDuel, they finally priced him up. I mean, he's been 3.5K every slate. Now he's 5K over there. So I mean, we don't need that here, especially with Christian Wood back. Jason Tate, same sort of thing. Like, he's a decent play. Just a harder spot for him now with Christian Wood back as well. So the main guy here is going to be Kevin Porter Jr. Oladipo's out, John Wall is out. Kevin Porter Jr. has been playing point guard for them. So I have him as core on both sides. I think he's an easy play. 6.3 on FanDuel. DK 6.8K. So I think that's a really good play. I expect him to be super chalky again. Good matchup against the Warriors, in my opinion. He'll get blowout time as well, if there is blowout time. So I like that safety there. And then, yeah, outside of him, like Christian Wood, I expect him to be on a restriction, so can't play him. Sterling Brown on DK is a little bit interesting for 4.6K. He's probably going to get the start here, I would assume. He's been playing minutes around 35 in his starts, so I think he's a decent option. But for now, the current guy in my lineups on both sides is Kevin Porter Jr.
Yeah, we haven't seen Christian Wood since February 4th, so a bit more than a month, or like a month and a half there, so that's quite a while. Yeah. Sorry, I was just loading up the next game, Chris, but I was just wondering, for Christian Wood, do we have like any word on any concern on the minutes restriction there?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think we have word on it yet. I think we got word that there is going to be one. We don't know exactly what it's going to be, but I can't play him here for this price tag. If I had to guess, I would probably say like 24 to 28. If you want to take some shots there, like, he's going to be very low owned. We've seen what he could do point per minute wise. He can absolutely go crazy. But yeah, coming off a pretty bad ankle injury is something that I don't love to target.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. I think I saw news on Raul Neto game time decision, so I think we had questionable tag for him. Scott Brooks says Cassius Winston could get some opportunity if Neto doesn't play. Any thoughts there, Chris?
I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like, if he plays, he's going to play probably 10 minutes maximum.
Okay. Some chat here on Wiseman. Royal King says Wiseman does look lost, can't lie, low enthusiasm. For being drafted number 2, I'd expect a lot more from him. Agree with that. I mean, he's also getting quite a good amount of opportunity in Golden State as well, right, Chris? It's not like he's...
Not anymore. Yeah, not that much anymore, but I mean, like, he's very raw. I think he's going to be a good player in a few years, but I mean, right now he's very raw. I think if he was in the G League, he would kill everyone. But yeah, in the NBA, it's tougher. But I mean, a matchup against Houston, pretty much a G League team here, so that's why I like him on FanDuel.
Yeah. Austin says Wiseman looks very lost, not tracking the ball efficiently. Coaches hate that probably.
Yeah.
Hasty probably hates that too. Justin says, Gary, what's up, Justin? Lynn says Wiseman is ruled out for health and safety protocols, Chris.
Is that true?
Yeah, I see it here too. It says
Wow.
Warriors center James Wiseman and forward Eric Pascal have entered NBA health and safety protocols and are out for tonight versus Houston, sources tell me. Shams.
It's probably a good thing for me because I mean, now I don't have to play him. It's probably saved me some money there. And then Eric Pascal's out as well, right?
Yeah.
So probably Draymond Green gets a bump here. 6.7 on FanDuel. I think 6.6 on DK. Let me see.
Wait,
6.6
is this
DK.
you updating it to 0 that fast?
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah. So yeah. Yeah. Draymond probably gets a bump here. We'll have to see who. So no Wiseman, no Pascal. That's like, what is that? Let's see here. How many minutes is that? Wiseman gets like 20. Pascal gets like 15. So it's like 35 minutes extra to go around. Probably going to go to guys like Looney, Toscano Anderson, I guess. So, yeah, probably don't want to play Looney or Toscano Anderson here, but it does bump up Draymond Green, which I think is pretty important.
Yeah, Austin saying, why would we lie to you, Chris, about someone being out?
I don't know, because we were talking about him. We were talking about that we don't want to play him. So it would have been a good spot to say that.
Yeah, but these are the regulars. You got to have some faith in the regulars, Chris.
I would if it was anyone else but Wiseman, who I was just saying that I don't want to play.
Yeah, fair. It's too good to be true, is what you're saying. Kind of toying with your emotions if it wasn't true. So I get that. I get Chris's concerns there. Lynn says Kevon Looney Day. Royal King loves that news. I think people are happy. JJ here is asking if Nance is a good option. I think you touched on it with you said yesterday with Kevin Love being out. Nance got the minutes, extra minutes, went for 37, I think, at five something price tag on FanDuel. So definitely paid. No, more?
No, played 37 minutes, and on DraftKings he's very cheap. So love him on DK here. He's 4.7K, I believe. Yeah, so I think he's a really good play on DraftKings. FanDuel, not as much.
Oh yeah, I see it. My bad. 37 minutes, but 34 points, fantasy points. So yeah, but you do like him, so there's that. Let me just go back to this game here. Vian Jones says that Golden State news is great. I was already having a good feeling about Dre tonight. That's why I had 500 left on the table. So I guess he loves that lineup even more so now. So that's good to hear. Next game, we have San Antonio against Chicago. Spurs side first, we have LMA out, DDR out, Bates Diop also out, projected starters. DeJounte Murray, Derek White, Lonnie Walker, Keldon Johnson, and my boy Jakob Pertl. Who do you like here on the Spurs, Chris, today? Chicago game. So you like to target teams playing Chicago, so I know that.
Yeah, so I don't know, like it's a good matchup here for the Spurs. Like it's a really good matchup for someone like Jakob Pertl. I mean, maybe I'll have more interest in him now that we don't have Wiseman, but I think I'm just going to go up to DeAndre Jordan on FanDuel. And then DK, I was talking a lot about Rashawn Holmes, who I still love there. So I don't know, like it's a good spot here without DeMar. DeJounte Murray, 7.5 on DK, 7.8 on FanDuel. Really like the price tag there. Good matchup, like I was saying. One of the best matchups, one of my favorite matchups to target. So we have DeJounte Murray there, who I think is pretty interesting in cash games, tournaments as well. I think he has real upside here to hit his ceiling. We've seen him go for like 65, 55, 52, 47. So he definitely has a ceiling just because he has so much potential for blocks and steals with his long frame. And then he assists very well, rebounds very well. So he's very good all around for fantasy. So I think DeJounte Murray here is going to be my favorite target. And then Jakob Pertl, like I said, he's pretty interesting in tournaments for me as well. Just not landing there in cash games right now.
Okay. Chicago side, Garrett Temple out for them. Projected starters, Tom Satoransky, Zach LaVine, Pat Williams, Thad Young, Lauri Markkanen. My boy Lauri Markkanen apparently now. So, yeah. What are your thoughts on Chicago here, Chris?
Wasn't he your boy before?
I mean, I really liked him. I still like him. I feel like he's a good player. I thought he was doing better before. I remember him like 7K price tag. Then what happened to him?
Injuries. So he was really good his first year, I think, and maybe his second year. And then last year and this year, he hasn't looked the same. Like I'm not sure. Is it his fourth year or is it his third year this year?
I think it's fourth, but if it's his third, that'd be pretty good still. He's still a young gun. What do we have? Yeah, fourth year.
Yeah, so his first year, his second year was his big year. So that was the one where I think you really liked him. That's where he had his high in minutes, played 32 per game, high in points. Actually, this year he's higher, so pretty surprising there. But yeah, to start last season, he was around 8K. So that means the season before that, he was playing really well. He was around an 8K player that year. But yeah, last year hasn't been the same. But he's pretty consistent to get you like 30. But yeah, with that being said, I'm not too high on him, honestly. It's just one guy here. It's Satoransky on DraftKings, 3.8K. Same thing as yesterday, like too cheap here for his new starting role. Played 31 minutes last night, so that's good to see for 3.8K. Been getting 30 fantasy points, so consistently hitting like 8x and above in terms of value. So yeah, it's just Sato here for me on DraftKings and cash games.
Okay. Royal King says, what's your thoughts on his poster? Do we have a Lowry marketing poster this year?
I don't know. Do we?
Um,
Do we have a Top Shot moment of him?
Pretty sure we can open up the top shots. Won't get caught for any copyright claims.
Yeah, probably better than the YouTube thing. Probably a little safer.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, if you play something copywritten, I think you just don't get ads, like money from ads. We don't run any ads, so we're fine. Is this 20 hours ago? What is this? Should I open it?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, let's see. Oh,
Oh yeah, on Moses Brown and one. I like that one.
is he back? Do you think he's just hurting a bit? Like, I mean, he's at his career high for points per game. I feel like he's just recovering a bit. I feel like next year could be a big one for him. A good one, for sure.
Yeah, if he can stay healthy, that's the big thing with him.
Yeah, I like him. Yeah, Royal King says it was on Moses Brown. Whiteside active from Layden Chris. What else we got? We got Tyrese Halliburton starting.
Oh, really?
Robert Woodard playing for Sacramento. Halliburton starting, Chris. Is that news to you? Is that big?
Yeah, it's pretty big, especially on DK where he's 5.5K. Hopefully we get news on minutes with him. But like I said, they've been trending upwards. I expect, if we don't get news, I expect somewhere from 30 to 32 minutes. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But really interesting on DraftKings here.
Yeah. Poor what is it? Corey Joseph, Chris. He's just like never gets any love anywhere.
Well, he gets the starts whenever Fox misses games, so this is Bagley.
Yeah. He's Captain Canada though. Does well when he plays for Team Canada. I don't know if he's actually the captain for Team Canada, but big Team Canada guy. But yeah, next game we have Miami Heat against the Memphis Grizzlies. Where is it? Here it is. So Miami side, we have Mo Harkless out. We have Avery Bradley out. We have Andre Iguodala out. We have Jimmy Butler questionable, Gabe Vincent probable, and then we have Trevor Ariza traded there. So I think, who did they lose? They lost Myers Leonard in that trade, and I think some picks, future draft picks there. So projected starters for the Heat, we have Kendrick Nunn, Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson, Kelly Olynyk, and Bam Adebayo. Yeah, what are your thoughts on the Heat here, Chris, today? Any interest there?
It's hard because Jimmy Butler here is questionable. This is the back end of a back-to-back, so I mean, I have no idea if they're going to rest him here. He's very expensive, been playing very well, so I mean, if you want to play him, try to chase that game log. I mean, I guess I'm fine with it. You're going to get him very low owned. But I don't know. For me, I can't do it with the questionable tag. Can't really play anyone here. I think Kelly Olynyk is actually the most interesting guy on FanDuel here at center for 5.3K. Even so, he was crushing when Bam was out. He had like 4 games where he was averaging 40 fantasy points. Obviously, Bam came back yesterday. Kelly Olynyk got the start still, and then played 34 minutes still, and then got 50 fantasy points. So he's still playing very well. He's been getting a lot of stocks, so I don't think that's very sustainable. But I do think he's an interesting tournament option on FanDuel.
Yeah. Just on Tyrese Halliburton starting on his minutes. So we have, according to Walton, Halliburton still on a minutes restriction, but he was available for 28 last game. Probably closer to 30-32 tonight. but I don't think that's a quote from anywhere. That's just the beat writer here speculating. But I think the quote from Walton is, "We're excited to see him out there, see that group play, and we'll make adjustments as we go." So
Yeah, so that's what I was speculating as well with the minutes. So that's what I think is going to happen.
yeah. So yeah, Memphis side, I don't see anything noted. We just have their starters. So it's John Morant, Desmond Bain, Dylan Brooks, Kyle Anderson, and Jonas Valanciunas projected to start. Thoughts on the Grizzlies today, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, just a stay away spot for me here. No one stands out. Tough pace down spot against the Heat, who were pretty good defensively. Yeah, nothing here for me.
Okay, let's go into this next game, second to last one of the slate to go over. So we have Charlotte Hornets against the Denver Nuggets. So Charlotte first, since they're away. Nothing noted for them, just the projected starters again. So LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, PJ Washington, and Cody Zeller. What are your thoughts here today, Chris? I think we had some interest in Zeller a while back. I mean, today's a much larger slate, so probably not as much interest there. But yeah, thoughts on the Hornets today, Chris?
Yeah, so we would have interest in Zeller here. We had interest in him 2 days ago, but we have Jordan for the same price, DeAndre Jordan, who I prefer much more. We're kind of getting to the games that I don't have much interest in, so this is another game here. Charlotte, they're healthy now. Like, if you want to take a shot on LaMelo in tournaments, sure. But it's not my favorite play here against the Nuggets. They're playing in altitude, so that's a disadvantage for them a little bit. If I had to pick one guy here, I'd probably say Gordon Hayward, 7.4K on DK, 7.3 on FanDuel. Went for 50 last game, but he got 4 steals, so that kind of boosted his fantasy production. Obviously, I don't expect him to get 4 steals again. So I don't know, like, nothing here for me really.
How big is that Denver altitude thing? Like how big of a difference is it? I always hear it. Obviously, I've never been there, but what's the impact there? Have we heard any of the NBA players talk about that? Like, what did they say?
Yeah, it's very hard to play there. I think like your first, once you catch your second wind, it's easy. Second wind, but like the first little stretch there is definitely difficult. But it's not usually anything that, I mean, changes my opinion on the players just because they're professional athletes. I mean, they train for this situation. They're in top shape. Like, so it's usually not a disadvantage or anything that I consider. But I mean, today when I'm not really on the Hornets anyways, it's kind of something that sort of justifies me not playing them.
Do you think you would notice it if you played there?
For sure.
Do you think it's an advantage for the Nuggets, like training there all the time?
For sure. That's a known thing in the NBA.
So Denver's like the best conditioned team, you think?
Yeah. Well, Miami too, because they train them so hard. But I think Denver definitely with the altitude advantage. When they play elsewhere, they also have an advantage.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting. I always hear it, so I wanted to ask about that. But yeah, Denver side, we have Monte Morris, RJ Hampton, Gary Harris, all out for them. Projected starters, Jamal Murray, Will Barton, Michael Porter Jr., Paul Millsap, and Nikola Jokic. Thoughts on the Nuggets here? You said these are the games you're not liking, but anyone here in tournaments maybe?
Yeah, so always Jokic in tournaments. He's not going to be popular today. Like I said, everyone's going to play Harden without Kyrie. So if you want to get different, play Jokic. You can definitely do that. No problems with that. He's been one of the best fantasy players as well. So I like him. Then Jamal Murray is actually pretty interesting for me on FanDuel for 6.8K. Super low price tag. Like, we've seen him around 8K, 8.5K in the past month or so. So now he's 6.8K, which is a pretty big drop. Last game he was 7.3K, so dropped $500 there in salary. Yeah, so Jamal Murray, I think he's going to be my favorite option here on FanDuel. Not really anyone on DK outside of Jokic, just because Jamal Murray is still 7.6 there. So yeah, if you want to play Jamal Murray in cash games, last piece sort of thing, don't mind that. In tournaments as well, I like it. I think he probably will get up for the matchup against LaMelo Ball. I think that's a real narrative there. So yeah, I like Jamal Murray here on FanDuel.
Okay. Layton says Alex Len revenge game against, what is it, the Kings here? Yeah, the
Yeah, I think he
Kings.
played like 20 games there. So I mean, it's not. I don't know. Like Alex Len sucks. I think Alex Len revenge game is mostly against the Suns, where he was drafted to.
Or Toronto, because it was just like this year, a short stint, trained with them, did the camp, then just got
I
booted
think
off.
I think Sacramento was last year, so I mean that's pretty recent as well. But I mean, Alex Len, he's not. It's not like he's gonna take over all the usage from Brad Beal and Westbrook here just because it's a revenge game.
You don't think he would demand it, like before the game, be like, "Hey guys."
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, Layton says Alex Len does suck. um, But yeah, last game of the slate here. So this is the bubble revenge narrative game here. This is the second one in a row they've played each other. So yeah, there's some interesting things going on here. Last game of the slate as well, half an hour after the two games we just went over. So Clippers, Mavericks, LA side first. We have Serge Ibaka questionable, Pat Bev out for them. Projected starters: Reginald Jackson, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris Sr., and Serge Ibaka, ex-Raptor. So shout out to Ibaka and Leonard. Won me the chip there, so I like him. Who do you like here, Chris, on the Clippers? Is this also a game you just don't really like with, I guess, Kawhi and George in here for them?
Yeah, like I mean, I'm fine with these guys. We just have guys that I'm prioritizing that we'll get to in the next segment when we go over some of my favorite plays, some of my favorite builds. But I mean, I'm fine with these guys. Like Kawhi, 8.7 on DK, super cheap price tag there. We saw him go for 55 last game, 9.3 on FanDuel, really good price tag there as well. So I mean, if this was like a 4-game, 5-game, 6-game slate with some of these bad games that we've talked about recently, some of the later night games, we would definitely have interest in someone like Kawhi. But on this giant slate, he just doesn't really fit for me personally. But I do think he's a good tournament option. Same thing for Paul George. Like price is good, just doesn't fit today. And then Serge Ibaka news is going to be pretty big. I think if he's out, we can play Zubac again. He's 4-5 on FanDuel, 4-5 on DK as well. The thing is, like you said, it's the last game of the slate. So if we don't get the Ibaka news before lock, we'll likely lock in Jordan. So we won't be able to swap to Zoo. And then last guy here, Marcus Morris. He got the start for Batum last game. So he played 30 minutes, 28 fantasy points. He's 3-7 on FanDuel, DK 4-1. Had him in my build when I had Wiseman, but without Wiseman, I'm kind of landing in the mid-range a little bit at power forward now. So I mean, I don't think we need it there, but he is there if you need a value guy. Definitely don't mind Marcus Morris.
Okay. We have the Kings starters. If you want me to go over those now.
Well, I think we got the Bagley news, but I mean, you can.
Yeah, so just Fox, Halliburton, which we have already. So Fox, Halliburton, Heald, Barnes, and Holmes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's do Dallas here, last team of the slate to go over. James Johnson out, Dorian Finney-Smith questionable, and Dwight Powell is in. Projected starters: Luka Doncic, Josh Richardson, Tim Hardaway Jr., Maxi Kleba, and Kristaps Porzingis. Thoughts on the Mavs here, Chris?
Yeah, so we actually have Dorian Finney-Smith doubtful as well, so that's a pretty big one. He plays like 30 minutes a night for them. He starts for them, so I mean, maybe Tim Hardaway Jr. will get the start here. He's pretty interesting, I think, for tournament value. We know the ceiling he can have. No one's going to play him. It's a late night hammer, so I like Tim Hardaway Jr. a lot in tournaments here. But I mean, in cash games, the safe guy here is Luka Doncic. He's 10.2K on FanDuel, 10.7 on DK. So if you want to play him, no problems with that. Currently not landing on him, but I think the price tag on FanDuel is just very cheap. Very good tournament option. He's probably my favorite spend up outside of Harden. If I had to pivot off of Harden in tournaments, I would go to Luka. Just love Luka. Think he can do so much on the court. So I like him as a pivot. And then there's no one really here for cash games.
Yeah, you said we all know what Tim Hardaway can do, Chris. We have a ceiling at 34. Is that fair? What would you say? How much damage can Hardaway give you?
Well, I mean, if his shot is falling, he can just keep shooting. He's very aggressive. We've seen him go for 40 here in this season, 41, played 40 minutes when he started. So if he starts here, I think he could definitely think he can hit a ceiling for his price tag here.
Yeah, when have we seen for just once? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's. I think I saw another one, but yeah, definitely an aggressive guy. Yeah, I agree with your take there. For shots falling, he can definitely keep shooting. Won't stop. So he does have the confidence to keep going. Royal King says, have you guys ever had a head-to-head and the opponent doesn't have a lineup? I got a free win out of that. I was just confused. I've never had that. Although,
No, I've never.
Yeah.
Although what?
Well, I was gonna say, like, if you enter a bunch of head-to-heads, maybe it happened. I just don't check all of them.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I don't know. What do you think, Chris? Have you had that?
Well, I mean, the thing is, I have so many, so I don't check them. But
Yeah.
I mean, I've probably had it, but I've never noticed.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Laughing at me. Yeah, let's go over your 3 favorite plays today. So overall play of the day, cash tournaments, everything, safest guy, value play on both sides, and then tournament play on both sides. Starting with FanDuel, Chris, your favorite play today, overall play of the day, safest play today. It's got to be Harden.
Yeah, it's Harden for sure.
Okay, no need to get into that one. It's pretty obvious. So value play though, FanDuel, who do you have here today? So many options.
Thing pretty obvious. Same guy that I've had the past 2 times he's played. Karis LeVert here on FanDuel. He's 4.4K.
Yeah, that's true. So many options, but yeah, LeVert on FanDuel is too obvious. Tournament play, who do you have?
Talked about him near the start of the show. Domantas Sabonis going up against the Nets. Don't think he's going to be popular. So I like him here in this matchup a lot.
Okay, I like that one. I always like Sabonis. He just seems so solid. I do like that one. So DK, same thing here. Overall play of the day, got to be Harden yet again.
Yep.
So I'm going to type that one in. Value play here is probably a bit more interesting. They have LeVert priced up a bit. So who's your guy here for value on DK?
It's Sato. So I think he was my value guy 2 slates ago when he got his first start. Not yesterday on DK. Yeah, he's my value guy here.
Okay, and then tournament guy over on DK, Chris. Who's your guy there?
Same as FanDuel. Go with Sabonis here. Really like the spot.
Okay, easy peasy stuff. Let's get into cash stuff. Let's get into the core plays. Start with FanDuel, like we always do. Some Raptors updates. Let's see what we have. Let me load up the tweet. So it says, Ben Fleet has been upgraded to questionable. No changes in the other statuses. Thread below for all of last night's updates and comments. So same thing we kind of went over at the start. Both coaches delayed pregame here. No changes on Raptors 503 injury report. Pistons list Diallo. Nurse says all 4 questionable players are awaiting the thumbs up to play. He's hoping to have a couple of them, not all of them. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see with that. It's the first game that locks. It's not a great game regardless. If 1 or 2 of those guys are back, well, I mean, I mainly only care about Siakam and Van Vliet.
We also have this, though. He says, Nurse expects those who are available to have minutes restrictions as they get their conditioning back. So that's pretty commonplace for guys coming back from health and safety protocol, right?
Yeah, so I mean, just can't play them if they play. And then the other guys that are in the lineup can't play them either because they're priced as if those guys are out. So just a bad situation for DFS today for the Raptors.
Yep. Let's see. Vian Jones says, missed out when you were talking about my Wizards. How do you feel about Rui Hachimura in cash? Because coach called him out before Milwaukee series due to 0 rebounds in a game before. He's been on fire since.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it in cash games, like especially on DK. I know you're a DK guy. He's 5.8K. FanDuel, he's 5K flat, so he's a better play there. Still can't do it in cash games. Like it's a really good game environment, but I mean it's still Rui Hachimura, still playing alongside Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal, who are gonna soak up most of the usage, most of the rebounds as well. Like Westbrook just chases those stats. So I mean I don't feel great about it in cash games, but I do like it in tournaments.
Yeah. What else do we have? Isho says not taught. Let's see, not taking Daniel Tice in more lineups instead of uh, Povechkin. I'm guessing that's Pokashevskin. Pokashevsky. Is that like an Ovechkin Pokashevsky combination there? Threw me off. Yeah.
Wait, so what's he's
He's
not
just saying not taking Daniel Tice in more lineups over Pokashevsky cost him hundreds last night.
Oh, yeah, last night, yeah. Pokushevsky had the snowflake.
Yeah.
Tice had the fire emoji. So yeah.
Just a reminder, guys. I think we're almost at 30 likes, so I'll do the reminder now so we can get that. I think we can do that if I do the reminder now after we do the core plays and go over some lineups. So if we reach 30 likes, we'll be doing a giveaway to our optimizer that we've been using here throughout the show, projections, all that stuff, Discord access as well. So that does include other sports as well, not just NBA, college basketball, NHL, every main sport on FanDuel and DraftKings, plus other niche sports like esports. So usually that's 25 a week or 75 a month. So you get a full week for free if we hit 30 likes. Every 5 likes after 30 is another weekly giveaway. So 35 would be 2, 43, so on and so forth. So I think we can get to that before we finish up the core plays. And then just another thing, if you want to try this out, try our optimizer here, use our projections, get into our Discord community. If you're new here, there is a free 3-day trial for all new members, no coupon code required at all. So you can just create your account, set it up, and then you'll get 3 days for free. So you're not billed until after 72 hours. So I always encourage everyone here who's new to try that out for free, even if you have no intent on paying or staying. Just do it for free for 3 days. Set a reminder to cancel before 72 hours, and then there's no problem at all with that. Just try it out, and then if you forget or something and you want to reach out after, I can still do the refund if that's a thing. So, but just try it out. It's good stuff. But yeah, so I built the lineups here with your core plays, Chris. Which ones do you want to go over?
So can we just open up the core quickly just so we can go over it first?
Just got Isho here, says gotta go. Thanks for hanging out, Isho. See you next time.
So we have Harden here, shooting guard, Levert. Pretty obvious combo on FanDuel, I think. I think everyone's going to play this. And then we have Harris at power forward, Kevin Porter at small forward. Really good plays there. I think they are staples in my lineups. So yeah, we can take a look at the first two. Just a 1v1 between the top two lineups right now. So yeah, we have Steph Curry and Drew Holiday at point guard. I think they're both pretty good plays here, both priced fairly. 9.4K for Steph against the Rockets, 5.9 for Drew against the Sixers. So I definitely don't mind those plays. Shooting guard, obvious plays, 2 locks. Small forward, we have Jaylen Brown, 7.3, no Kemba Walker. Like that play a lot. Kevin Porter, locked him in as core. Tobias Harris, locked him in as core. And then center, we have DeAndre Jordan, 4.3K. Good play there. Played 36 minutes last time against the Pacers. So I expect 30 minutes plus here for DeAndre. 4.3K can easily pay off that price tag, especially when he's going to be catching lobs from James Harden all night long. And then we have this 1v1, Tony Bradley versus McGee. Pretty ugly, honestly. I'm kind of hoping we get some other value just so we can kind of play someone else here. But, I mean, Tony Bradley, obviously he's been getting the starts without Joel Embiid. Yesterday he got the start as well. Didn't play too well. Happy I wasn't on him. But, I mean, I think he can definitely hit his projection here. Like, he's a solid point-per-minute guy. Gets some blocks. Only concern here would be foul trouble guarding Giannis or something like that. But I mean, I like Tony Bradley here, so I'll say I side with the Tony Bradley team right now. I mean, McGee is a fine option as well. Let me just see. So, yeah, I mean, they still have Jarrett Allen there. He's still missing. I mean, he's still splitting minutes with McGee. If you want to play McGee, go for it. I mean, I think both of these guys are pretty ugly last pieces. I don't think this 1v1 will matter too much. I think they can both get in the 15 to 20 fantasy point range, and I would say that's good enough just because it lets us jam in everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, getting those low like minimum salary guys, you don't need to get too much, especially if it opens up your options for the higher guys. So I don't mind either of those. Yeah, DK. Let's get into that. Let me load up the core plays. Some questions that I see, so I'll go over that before we do that. Let me just lock these in and hit build, and then you can go over it after, Chris. So FC says Jaylen Brown or Hayward. Not sure what site.
Jaylen Brown for sure.
Okay. Let's see what else we got. Justin says FD was fire last night. It was pretty good. I think it was pretty good.
Yep.
Vian Jones says he forgot to hit the like button. 27 now. World King also likes it up. But Vian Jones says was distracted. Yacht watching again from my balcony. Chris, I'll let you know when me and my wife have our vaccine shots. You're welcome to do a video from my balcony.
But that would be fun.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, I wonder when the vaccines are rolling out. Probably soon this year. But I still wonder what the regulations, restrictions, traveling, all that stuff is going to be like as well. But yeah, DK core plays here, Chris. We have 4 of them, 4 locks. So who do you? I mean, not who do you like? What do you want to say about these locks before we go over the lineups?
Yeah, so Harden, same thing as on FanDuel, just obvious play there. Porter, similar thing. No Oladipo, no Wall. I think it's a really good spot for him. 6'8". I think he can easily hit his projection here. He just shoots so much, does everything. I think Christian Wood being there actually helps. It'll kind of get some of the defense more focused on Wood, less focused on Porter. So I think that helps him. We have Brad Beal, 9-3 here on DK in the best game environment. And then obviously, like I expect him to score a bunch of points here against the Kings. So I like him a lot for 9-3. Sato had him as my favorite value guy. So we have him in my core. And then we can take a look at these first 2 lineups. It's just a 2v2. I'll start with, I'll just go over the guys that are the same. So we have Harden and Beal. Talked about them, have them in my core. We have Bielitsa. So he's not getting the start, but he's still 3.7K here. I expect him to get probably 24 minutes. He's always been a good point per minute guy, very good offensively. So I like him here. Rashawn Holmes, 6'7", talked about him a ton. Like the matchup here. And then Kevin Porter locked him. Sato locked him. So we have the 2v2, Bazemore, Wiggins versus Nance, Tice. Let me just see here. Yeah, so this one's kind of... So the second team here was on top for most of the day. Then we got the Wiseman and Pascal news. So that kind of shot this first team up with more Warriors. I definitely don't mind it. They're implied to score 121. Going up against the Rockets, who I said pretty much are a G League team at this point. So I think I like this first side more. It gets us more exposure to one of the best offenses of the slate, in my opinion, in the Golden State Warriors.
Got it. Let's see the chat. Dakota says April vaccine rollout in Michigan. World King says, out of those 2 on FanDuel, which would you prefer for cash single entry tournament, Chris?
Out of those 2 on FanDuel, which would I prefer in cash or cash and single entry?
It just says cash single entry, so I'm just guessing single entry tournament.
Yeah, so right now I preferred Tony Bradley, but wouldn't be surprised if some other team surpasses this team. But just in the 1v1 here, I would go with Tony Bradley.
Okay. Hasty's in here. What's up, Hasty? Says Vienna always out there living his best life. Agree on that one. Roll King says relying on Bradley or McGee. So I guess he kind of touched on that right now. VN also says he likes the second one here, Chris, a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problems with that. Like Tice, no Tristan Thompson, really good spot. Nance, no love. He's getting the start. Played 37 minutes yesterday. So, I mean, I have no problems with that at all.
Yeah. I think we did hit the giveaway, so let's start the 90-second countdown. I think we got to do Justin double entries. If he's in here, though, he has to be in here. So if Justin's in here before the 90 seconds is up, we'll give him 2 entries because missed him yesterday on the show twice, I think. So
And we gotta get the people in the bracket. So, yeah, I'll post the link here in the chat again. I want to see VN Jones in there. I'm not sure if he's in there already. Who else? Royal King. I don't think he's in there. Dakota. Not sure if he's in there. Alex. Not sure either. Justin as well. So I mean, you guys got to enter the bracket. It's really fun to follow along, especially when there's a group. So I'll post that right now. It's the Bitly link in the chat.
Whose entry is like Chris Poo Poo Head or something like that? Yeah. Pretty sure that's got to be like Espo. Yeah,
Oh, Alex.
Huh?
Royal King says, "What's the bracket?" The bracket is it's for the March Madness. So, yeah, it's for the tournament. If you win first, you get a free month of our subscription. Second and third get free weeks. So definitely join that. I think there's like 20 people in there right now. So definitely a good time.
Yeah, I think Justin's sleeping again. He's not here. He always comes in like 5 seconds after, says, "I'm here, put me in." But I'm calling him out in the chat as well. So, yeah, so we only have eight guys today. So the odds are actually really, really good. Even less actually, because we have to remove. Wait, we don't even have 8. Oh my god. Unreal. So, I mean, 6, isn't it? So we have no Hasty, no me. Only 6. That's actually, I don't think we've ever had one so small, have we, Chris? We had Greek music last time, dramatic music this time, 15 seconds. Odds are juiced, Chris, from Hasty. Let's go back.